What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Podcast. I'm Caden Cleveland. Of course, we have the director of OMES over here, Steve Hart. Steve, you doing all right?
Doing great. It's good to be back.
Right on. Here we go. It's been a little while since we've been in the studio here.
It has.
But guys, I am so excited about our episode today as we continue our series on just service to Oklahomans. We have a guest on today who we are so excited about because he serves such an amazing role for Oklahoma and protecting Oklahomans. It's the area of public safety. The sheriff of Oklahoma County, Tommie Johnson. Tommie, how are you doing, man?
I'm well, guys. How are y'all doing?
Oh, doing all right. Hanging in there.
Doing great. So, hey, what you guys can't see, maybe you can when the video comes out, he's got the most amazing decorated office in all of public service.
Yes.
I think we have to send some people over. I think I like that flag behind him. That's awesome.
And who did you say gets the credit for that, sir?
My wife. I like to take it, but I would be lying if I did. She designed the whole office.
Love it, love it. Sometime, not this episode, but maybe sometime soon, we'll do like a tour of your office so we can see it a little bit better.
Oh, I'd love you have you out so you can take a tour of our building and see what we do here.
Well, you're next. You said you're next to DPS, right, sir? Is that correct?
I'm next to DPS.
Yeah.
Yes, just northeast corner of the 36 and MLK.
Well, I want to give a shout out to two people in that neck of the woods. One, because we have to. DOC's director, Scott Crow. He's an Easter egg on these episodes. We try to give him some love all the time. And, of course, Commissioner John Scully, who's just a good partner to everybody, and he's been a great partner to OMES up to this point. Hey, as we jump in, there's a lot to talk about with you. We might have to have you come back for a couple of segments. But as we kind of, well, awesome. Well, as we get into it, talk a little bit. I mean, you're a young guy. You're the first black sheriff for Oklahoma County. I mean, tell me what you think citizens are looking for out of your leadership, and maybe some of that mantle that you carry forward. Just some of the first that you've encountered.
Well, first off, I think what people were looking for my leadership was, a lot of things that we listed out during the campaign with it, a fresh perspective, a new way of looking at things. I'll be the first one to tell you that I completely respect past practice and, how things were done in the day, but you just have to look at the times we're in and we have to constantly be evaluating ourselves saying, can we do this better, faster, cheaper, more efficiently, more effectively? You have to constantly ask yourself those questions to provide a quality service to this community. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they want, more forward progress and more, I guess, a different perspective, different thought process.
Well, and your energy, I know Caden's dying to ask you a question, but your energy just pops off the screen. I mean, that's one thing. I just moved to Oklahoma County in June of this last year. I'd have voted for you. I mean, I just love the energy that you have, man. That's amazing.
That's a proactive vote for the next time around. There you go.
Right.
Yes. Thank you. I need all of them I can get.
There you go. So you talk a little bit about all the adjustments and kind of what you walked into. You respect what's been done in the past, but you're kind of getting a fresh perspective on your role and what you're doing for Oklahomans. Can you walk us through a little more specifics on some of the things you're most proud of that you've already implemented as in your time as being sheriff?
One, when you talk about the relationship with the public, I'll tell you, in the past, policing has been kind of this super secret top squirrel stuff. We really don't invite you in. It's just something we kind of keep to ourselves. Well, when you look at the current environment and where we're at today, more people are asking and wanting to know, what we do, why we do what we do. So I believe community outreach and partnerships are very important to the success of law enforcement, because I've said it time and time again, I truly believe in it. If we invest in our communities, we unconsciously give them permission to invest in their own safety. But with that, we have to open our doors, invite them in and say, here's why we operate this way, because while we do that, we create understanding. And when people have an understanding of each other, positive outcomes are a tremendous result.
So do you do a lot of things where you open the door to your police station and welcome in the public to kind of show them how you do what you do and why it's so important?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We have a citizens advisory board. I will tell you, I haven't been received with just open arms by everybody. I have a lot of protesters that obviously protest my election. I've welcomed them in. We talk about the views that I have on policing and with the community. And I'm very open guy. I'm very passionate about law enforcement, passionate about my love for the community. So I do that as well.
That's cool.
I was elected by the people, and I take that serious.
Where does that passion come from? I mean, I'm just fascinated by that. My dad was a highway state patrolman when I was a kid in Georgia, and then through the years I lived on Air Force bases all over the place. And I've always I never got into law enforcement, but I always from afar kind of really dug what was and admired what those men and women do. Where does it come for you, Tommie?
I will tell you, my passion, I think, comes from not wanting to be a cop when I was growing up. You'd speak to a lot of police officers, their father was an officer, their grandpa, somewhere in their lineage, there was somebody who served in this capacity. Well, that wasn't the case for me. Actually, where I'm from, the south side of Oklahoma City, it's not a sought out position. And it's not something I wanted, but I was going to school and I had an officer, his name is D.G. Brewer, who invested time in me. We used to train at the gym. He used to prepare me for the next season. And through that relationship, I just learned more about policing. And then he asked me on a couple ride-alongs and I obliged. And when I went on these ride-alongs, I saw that it's more than enforcement. It's a investment into the community and just being proficient in so many disciplines. He was a counselor. He was a doctor. You just don't see a whole lot of what police do. And then when you're in the shoes and you see, man, a tremendous impact and value that an officer or deputy offers to the community, I got to see it firsthand. Yeah. And that's where my love came in. It's because that's what I wanted to be for a community. And I've been able to carry that out.
Yeah, that's super cool. Along the lines of, since you've taken on the department, can you talk to us about any challenges that you've come across already, maybe even potentially the fact that you guys don't manage the Oklahoma County Jail? Is there anything you could share with our listeners on those topics?
I will tell you, it is a blessing not to manage the Oklahoma County Jail when you talk about where it's at currently. The structural integrity is just not there, and it just seems to be a burden for each and every sheriff. But what I will say about some of the challenges I've faced is starting out as a municipal officer and then moving to a county venue. It's different. The way they operate's different. Obviously, budget situation is different. And so we've looked there, and then we just recently got our audit complete. That was a huge thing for me to one, to see something that's kind of been the bane of each sheriff's existence, in recent history, and to go through that and see what all goes into it. And there's serious challenges there.
Right.
Been tough to deal with.
So what major things are you learning? You've been on the job for how many months now? About
January. Where are we at now? Two months. Almost working.
What's the craziest thing you've learned so far in your position that you didn't anticipate walking into becoming the sheriff of Oklahoma County? Any just things that just caught you completely off guard?
Yes. I will tell you, the people, the level of professionalism that they have here at the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office, it blew me away. Traditionally, when a new sheriff is elected, what they do is do away with the old administration and bring in their own administration. When I got here, I'm not the guy to just do away with everybody. I like to evaluate, position audit and things like that.
I love that.
And I have been more than surprised with the competency, the level of professionalism. These guys here and gals are rock stars, and I am the lucky one. So they make it easy to come here every day. And I think that was the biggest surprise I received.
You know what? That's not just unique to you though, because like in state government, I've only been in state government for about a year and a half ish at this point, and you hear all those stories before you come into a government position or a public servant position that they don't have the talent, they don't have people are just there just kind of
punching time.
Yeah. And what you find is once you get in, you find there's a lot of talented people, a lot of people that do it because they love what they do, they love who they do it for, and it's just a matter of finding a way to ignite their passion to to go get what we call go get stuff done on a grand scale. And so we've experienced some of what you just talked about, and I think it's fascinating when you see new people come into public servant positions that they find it, and it's all over the state. Oklahomans are served really, really well by Oklahomans that they don't get to understand on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. This is not your typical government. I would say that at the sheriff level. I'd say that anywhere where you turn your head, there are amazing people behind the scenes that do great work. It's just a matter of getting their stories told and letting people get visibility to it.
No, that's awesome. So, Sheriff, I do have to give a shout out to one of your staff members. He's a new guy on the block in your office, I think, but your PIO, Aaron Brilbeck, a close partner of ours, really like working with him. So that was a really good hire on your end.
Well, thank you. I'm going to tell you what, I was truly blessed when I got into, when I started running. I asked God, just give me a spirit of discernment, help give me wisdom, and put people around me to, help accomplish this, this task. And when you have guys like Aaron who are super overqualified, but they're available and they want to work for you, I mean, that's just when it's meant to be. And I'm blessed.
Man, that's awesome.
How's your family adapting to your role now as sheriff? I mean, how's that working out? Has it been taxing on your family?
Well, we've always lived a busy lifestyle. I will say my boys are so proud of their father, and that means a lot to me. To be a good role model to some young men, it's just, I think that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
My wife is the most supportive person that you can ask for. She's my rock. She is, when I get a little soft, she's definitely the one who'll sit there and punch me in the gut and say, toughen up. But I think for her, it's, she loves her husband, and to see people, speak ill of you, that was something that she really had to get used to. Yeah. So I told her, I said, you can be on social media, but I would say stay out of the comments, because that's a dangerous place to be.
Absolutely.
Definitely not. Plus, she's a great decorator. We already covered that, right? So
an amazing decorator.
There you go. Hey, talk to us a little bit about culture. As you walked into your position in the office, I know you mentioned that the staff members, you were really surprised about the level of professionalism in the office. Are there any things you're bringing to the office now, any culture changes you're wanting to see in the office or anything like that?
Yes. A family environment, a team environment, one where we support each other. I will tell you, I'm the first. I believe wholeheartedly that one person can't get it done. You can elect sheriff after sheriff and still come and end up with the same, end result. My thought process coming in was, I want to serve you guys. How do I make you better? How do I invest in you? Yeah. Because when I invest in the ones under me, they do their job better, which makes me look better. So I think that's the culture, is how can we invest in each other from leadership all the way down? Because when we, iron sharpens iron. When we make each other a better version of ourselves, everyone in this agency reaps the benefits of that.
So you've been on the job for 2 months now. Talk to us a little bit about what you've observed in terms of your forward thinking, the plan, where you see your department going. It doesn't even have to be 3 years. Like for the remainder of 2021, how do you see like your department progressing? What type of things do you have them working on?
So right now, currently, we are working on a 9-step raise plan, because currently we don't have that. When I came in, we were very top heavy. Mm-hmm. Started doing research to see, how did we get here? How do we have 14 captains? We don't even have that many divisions. And the reason was because they promoted people for more pay. Well, it just made sense to me that why don't we have a step raise plan? So, guys who come in and are deputies on patrol, the salary that they come in at, they don't remain there. So we don't have to promote them just for more pay. They promote because they want to be a leader, and be in a different capacity in that agency. So we did that. Obviously, we're looking at a vehicle replacement program. That is imperative to us going forward, because we have a lot of vehicles that are old, dated, 200,000 plus miles on them, spending more money on maintenance than actual vehicle costs. So developing, or instituting a better program, one that will have us self-sustaining for futures to come, so sheriffs down the road don't have to worry about this.
Oh, wow.
And then so we restructured the agency, pay, and vehicles. Body cameras, also a big one of mine. We have located the funds. And now we're just going to have different vendors come in so we can start the test and evaluation process. Once COVID restrictions are relieved, then we will definitely get out into the community, start visiting schools and really pushing the community-oriented policing aspect, and just, giving our community our love.
That's awesome. So are you stuck in the office most days now, or you still get out in the field? What does that look like?
I will tell you, my day from 8 to 5 is usually filled with meetings. I absolutely love the pace. Now, I was a patrol guy, and I love getting out on patrol. So, like, when the snow came through, my undersheriff and I, we got in our uniforms and patrolled around. But most days are consumed with, meetings and things of that nature.
So talk to us about leadership a little bit. So you mentioned, I've heard the word leader or leadership mentioned a couple times. What characteristics are important to you? What do you look for in terms of the men and women you're going to develop into leaders there in the sheriff's office?
To me, and this is me personally, I feel leader or a good leader is the biggest servant in the room.
Absolutely.
I feel that way because, the sheriff, a leader in the community, serves his community by keeping them safe. The sheriff within the agency, I serve the men and women I work for to make them better, to give back to the community and give back to the agency. So that's what I look for thinking. How can we think outside the box? How can we invest in each other? How can we, what good can we bring to the table? I'm a big, preparer. I like to be prepared. I understand that, sometimes you get off course on your way to an end goal. But I figure if you have your goal in place, even if you get off course, you still know where you're trying to get to. And, but that's that's the characteristics I look for. And I think, awesome. The agency, they're taking on those characteristics.
Absolutely.
Talk to us a little bit about your staff. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any officers? We try to take as much time as we can to recognize the public safety sector as much as possible. So if there's anybody you want to give a shout out to it or anything like that, we'd love to hear it.
Awesome. I would love to first give a shout out to my undersheriff, Jim Anderson. I will tell you that is the most brilliant man, especially when it comes to all disciplines that are law enforcement related. I bounce ideas off of him. The one thing I asked of him when we first started was, don't be a yes man. Don't tell me yes or say something just to please me. I said, give me the honest truth. And he is, he's done that and been a true asset to me in this agency. Major Brandon Holmes, probably the smartest guy I've ever met when it comes to figures and finances. He has a 50,000 foot view that keeps us out of trouble. So impulse spending and those impulse buys don't happen. And he's just a pleasure to be around. Major Charles Avery. He's a true leader. He's in our overall patrol division, and he's leading those guys in the right direction.
That's awesome. And
so then we have Major Ricky Barrows over judicial. He's a guy who's been here a long time, and just his presence in the room adds value. And then we have Andrea Welsh. She is our financial director. And I'm telling you, when I prayed for good people to come around me, just God has put them in place, and I know we're going in the right direction.
Man, that's awesome. So talk to us just real quickly, because I'm just curious about you being the sheriff of Oklahoma County. How do you partner and how do you collaborate with the city and more local levels of law enforcement?
Well, we're all pulling from the same rope.
Right.
And I think when you realize that, it's easy to do. You reach out to all the chiefs, you reach out to the, second in command, deputy chiefs and assistants and things like that, and say, how can we work together to keep this community safe? Yeah. And that's as simple as it is. It takes that, everybody being on that, same sheet of music when it comes to our county, our city, our community safety first. And, we kind of put our selfish issues secondary, and that seems to be working.
Tell us a little bit about some of the adjustments you may be making as far as what I've heard. I'm really curious about your increasing of the patrols and making sure that they're more involved with the community. Can you explain a little bit about what is going on behind the scenes there?
Well, that's a great question. The one thing we're doing to increase patrols is we have to get more people in patrol functions. So we're going to hire more deputies to bolster our presence in the community in which we serve. And that is very important because the mere presence of the deputy deters and stops crime.
Right.
We're able to be proactive instead of reactive, which means we provide a more quality service to the community. And that's what we need. Good policing is being there, being visible,
right.
Stopping and talking to, neighbors and, homeowners and landowners, just to build those relationships with the community, because a lot of times the community will give you information on
absolutely
what's going on.
Right. That's amazing. I love that approach.
That's very necessary.
That's
yes, sir.
cool.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I know we're running out of time, but just real quick, we ask all the leaders and folks that we talk to when they come in, when you think about, we're operating in a pandemic, we've had an energy crisis, we've had an unemployment crisis. There's a lot of social issues that are out there right now that I'm sure you guys are having to deal with every day face to face. What gives you hope, Tommie? I mean, what gives you hope for the future? What gives you hope for your department and how you guys are going to be able to serve the county of Oklahoma?
What gives me hope? I always have to fall back on my religion that, God wouldn't put us anywhere through anything that we couldn't handle. I truly believe that. We will come together. We will build back stronger than we once were. And I believe that. I think my hope falls back on that. And that's the only way I can explain it.
That's great. I look forward to having you back. I know you've only been on the seat now for a couple months, but when we get through the year, we'd love to have you come back and share your experiences and stories, what your department's doing, what you've been able to do as sheriff. I think citizens would love to hear back from you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sheriff,
I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and as I said before, and like this is really the podcast is all set up to talk about service. So we just want to thank you again for coming on the show, and the service that you provide just to Oklahomans it can't be underscored enough. So thank you again for all you do just for Oklahomans.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And everybody, if you're listening either at home or wherever you're at, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and share to help us promote Tommie Johnson, everything he's doing in Oklahoma. Absolutely. Some amazing things. And we just couldn't be more proud to have him on the show here, honestly. So anyways, thank you guys again for joining us. And we'll see you soon on the next episode of the GSD Podcast. Thanks,
Take care, guys.